You didn't know I could touch you, did you, you little bastard? Nobody's safe. I'm paying a lot of money for these cameras, and if you're not giving me the right reaction, I'll come and get you. Remember that, every last one of you. Now let's enjoy the show. It's great to be here. Great to be back in Ireland. I live in London now, as some of you know, and I'd say leave Ireland. You know, you should leave Ireland. It's shite being Irish in Ireland. You know what I mean? No one gives a fuck that you're Irish. You know, I'd go as far as to say it's of no advantage at all. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. You know, because you leave Ireland, people like us for no reason. Just because we sound like little flutes, you know? Like, this is true. Recently, the Irish accent got voted the most attractive accent in the world. Yeah. And I thought to myself, that explains a lot. Like, that explains why my uncle kept trying to fuck me, you know? I mean, if I'm being honest, it also explains why I kept letting him fuck me, you know? I was like, faster, you silver-tongued devil, come on! Christmas dinner's nearly ready, Frank, you fucker, go on! You don't look unlike him. Very agricultural looking man. Looked like a potato became sentient and just started walking around. I live in London now. Jeez, I had a great introduction to England because on the flight over to England was a hen party from a place called Essex in England. And these were not good people, you know. These women were so drunk, they didn't realise they were on a flight, you know. They were so drunk, at the start of the flight, I genuinely heard the pilot make an announcement over the loudspeaker, and one of them said, the music's fucking shit in here. The music's shit, change it, I don't like it. But she seems to like it, she's dancing, she seems to like it. It was the woman doing the fucking safety demonstration, right? She seems to like it, right? That's my impression of an Essex woman drunk, right? So I'm sitting across from three of these mad fuckers, they're sitting here, I'm sitting here, and one of their friends comes up to talk to them from another row. Just waddles up to talk to them. About fucking nothing, by the way. She just comes up, all right, girls, what's it like down here? It's all right, what's it like down there? Same, really, same. And in that moment, as an Irish person, it was the first time I understood Brexit. You know, like, I was like, that's right, these are not Europeans, you know, like... These are not descendants of Da Vinci, for fuck's sake, you know? So, they're stupid. And, so, next thing, your one was standing up. She's standing here. I'm sitting here. And she turned to me. And she did the most ignorant thing to me. But in the most beautiful way. She just turned to me and she, yes, sorry, babe. Do you mind if I just... And she sat on top of me. Are you listening to what I fucking said? Now, I'm like most of ye. I'm from the south of Ireland, not the north. So this was my first experience of English oppression. You know, like, if I'm honest, I could feel myself becoming a terrorist. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, we need to unite this country. 6 counties, I want them back. Like, I could feel a balaclava growing around my face, you know. Turned out just to be her back hair. But, oh, she was a hairy fucker, she was, yeah. But if you really think about it, that's exactly what England did to Ireland historically, isn't it? Exact same thing. They just drunkenly looked across the Irish Sea and they just went, sorry, babe, do you mind if I just... And they sat on top of Ireland for 800 fucking years, right? Then finally the War of Independence, we were like, get the fuck off us! And they were like, we're going. But they didn't fucking go, did they? They just scooched up a bit, the bastards, right? Now, that's a very clever geographical joke, so don't worry about it there. I could see the bewilderment. Yeah, I didn't fucking pay for these. I didn't pay to think, that's for sure. Yeah, fucking idiot. I can kick you as well. I don't know. It's great being in Dublin. Jeez, you meet some characters here as well, man. I was back here a couple of months ago. I was on Dublin bus, a beautiful transport vehicle, and stunning, you know. And I was on Dublin bus, and I went back down to the back of the bus, and there was this owl lad down there, and he was drinking a can of harp. Now, if you don't know, harp that kind of like liquidized depression. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I would describe it. And I made the big mistake of making eye contact with him, right? And he just shook the can of harp at me. He said, would you like a drop of harp? And I said, fuck it, yeah, go on, you know. I was like, I'd forgotten my earphones, you know what I mean? I was like, this fucker can be today's podcast, you know? So anyway, I sat down beside him and I immediately learned some very interesting things about him, right? Like, for one thing, this was not his first time drinking harp. And I know that because he told me. He said, I've been drinking harp for 30 years. Am I right or am I wrong? I was like, you fucking look right, you know? You look like you've been playing a harp with your face for the last 30 years, to be honest, you know? You do not look well, my friend, you know? And he said, yeah. He said, you're a good young fella. Am I right or am I wrong? I said, by God, he's right again, you know? I said, that's 2 out of 2. I started to think, has he ever been wrong, you know? And then next he said, listen, I have to tell you something. And this said, I was like, oh, Jesus, don't tell me he's my real father, you know? That'd be a nightmare, you know? I said, what is it, right? And he said, oi, I'm a member of the IRA. And I didn't know what to fucking say. So I just panicked and went, nice, right? And then he just goes, nice, yeah. But then that gave him like confidence. And he just said, hey, would you maybe want to be a member of the IRA? And again, I was like, fuck it, yeah, go on. You know, like, I'm not doing nothing else today. Let's unite the fucking country, you know? And that was it. I was in the IRA, you know? And I have to say that being in the IRA, it felt very, very similar to not being in the IRA, you know? Almost identical, I would say, you know? But it was fucking exciting, though. Because it turned out, get this, that my first mission as a member of the IRA was to give this lad money for more cans of harp. That was my first. He said, you're gonna donate to the cause. Am I right or am I wrong? I said, first one you've got wrong all day, you cunt. He's human after all, I said, you know. But, he's good crack, you know. And I'm in London now, it's, you know, people are different. I don't know how well I get on over there, do you know what I mean? I'm a big agricultural fucking idiot, you know. I'm like you, you're just fucking half a cow. Look at the head here. Because I grew up on a farm, I just want to milk you. I just look at you and I just want to milk this bollocks, you know what I mean? I know, but I like that. That's what you want around, you know? That's what I grew up with, like, do you know what I mean? Like, just to put it to you this way, right? My father, for example, right? This is a farmer from 1950s Ireland, you know? So literally one of the founding members of Sadness, you know what I mean? Like, this is my father at all times of the day. Like, technically, he is alive, but he haunts our house, you know? Like he spent so much time with cows that now they're the only ones who understand him, you know? And he's like, we're like, what's he saying? And the cows are like, something racist, you don't want to know. We're like, is it about the Jews? They're like, like, he is a big Kanye fan, you know? So it's starting to make sense now. That's what I'd say, you know? Hey, go to fucking London, lad, and I don't know how well I get on there, in any big cities in general, because, like, I just don't believe what people there believe, you know? Like, I don't believe photography's a talent, you know? I just don't. Deep in my soul, I just think you're pressing a button, you know? I just do. It'd be like if turning on the kettle was a talent, you know? Like, but every fucker I meet over there, everyone's like, I'm a photographer. It's like, you're unemployed, John, you know? Like, you're a burden on the state, that's what you are, you know? And I bumped into this girl, right? I used to know from Ireland recently, but like London's fucked with her head. So she just come up to me, she said, Mike, oh, silent night. You know what she said, Mike, she said, my boyfriend's a great photographer, Mike. He's got a great eye, Mike. He's got a great eye. And she went on to show me pictures he had taken of the Grand Canyon. He has a great eye. He spotted the Grand Canyon. Did he, Kate? That old slippery minx, you know. You have to get up very early in the morning to catch the Grand fucking Canyon, Kate. It's like he's not a photographer, is he? No, he's a fucking accountant, all right? Tell the truth. My boyfriend's a boring bastard that makes a lot of money. I miss you, Mike, and I want you back. Okay, with that? Oh, I'm lonely. Go on with the claps. What the hell? Oh, I'm lonely, you know. Lonely and I'm afraid, you know, I'm afraid. It's like, I know I'm slagging off, but I love you, you know. I love you, like deep in my soul, and I miss people like you over in London, because if war arrives, I want a fucker like this around, do you know what I mean? Someone who could eat a chair, you know, like that's what I want. Do you know what I mean? Someone who's just gnawing at the curtains. You know, that's kicking lads like bullet. That's what I want. I'm over in London. If the Russians get to London, we're fucked. Biggest load of useless cowards that have ever lived. 90% photographers, you know, like if the Russians invade, all they'll do is be like, say cheese, cabbage. I'll tell you what did it for me recently. I just fucking the fear of God in me. I was on the underground train in London, and a wasp got on the train. A wasp. The place fucking fell apart. People couldn't believe it. This is like our generation's Vietnam, to be honest with you. People were like, oh no, not my latte, please. There's people trying to hand the wasp their wallet. They're like, take it. Please, Mr. Wasp. And I swear to God, there's just this big fucker from the Middle East on the train, and he just fucking caught the wasp. And he looked out at everyone in utter disgust for their cowardice, and then he just fucking re-released the wasp. This is what you deserve. You fucking cowards. 5 photographers fainted, you know. The rest of us converted to Islam. It was fun, you know. Praise be Allah, that's what I say, you know. Downloading a Quran on the way out of the train, you know. This seems to be the way of life we should choose, you know. I don't know, man. All that shit fucking worries me. All that war shit, you know. It's over a year now, Russia, Ukraine, and like, I just want countries to help to Ukraine, man. I really do, you know. Like, apart from Germany, obviously, I prefer they stay neutral. Do you know what I mean? Like, just between us here, I'd just be afraid if they got the uniforms back on, you know, like. I'm just afraid they'd be like, this feels quite nice, actually, yeah. I just feel better than everyone for some reason, you know. I just feel like we should own everything. Is that wrong on me, Hans? I don't know. Hans, take a picture. You've got a great eye, Hans. You've got a great eye. Take a picture. Ah, woo. Woo, I'm so naughty. Ah. Hashtag they're back, you know. And don't get me wrong, like, in my opinion, Germany, best country in Europe. They take in thousands of immigrants. They bailed out our country in the crash. They gave us billions. We're never giving it back, but they gave us billions. Oh, I'd suck Merkel's tits if she'd let me, you know. Thank you. Oh, she'd need new tits. I'd suck them so hard. New tits for Merkel. I sucked them off. New tits, Hans. Okay, the tits for Merkel. But let's call a spade a spade. It is not fair to ask Germany to go to war, is it? No. Because they are recovering waraholics. They are, but it's still an everyday thing for them to stay sober. Every day. They're like, shite, no. Shite, no. They mustn't. They still have to go to waraholics meetings like this every day. They have to be like, hi, my name's Germany. It's been 20,000 days since my last invasion, you know. And recently I've been finding it hard, you know. Like the other day I was tired and I was like, why can't we just have Luxembourg, you know? Why can't we just... I mean, it's a silly little country, you know? And we wouldn't even have to invade. We would just say, Luxembourg, you are Germany now. And they would have to be like, okay, I guess, you know? And then America just wades into the meeting, fucking covered in blood. It's like, I don't have a fucking problem. Well, I can quit whenever I want. You know, because they're evil. People bastards, you know. Even though, like, there's something I do like about Americans, you know, there's naivety, there's something going on. They'll ask you some stupid fucking questions sometimes. Good God. I was in Berlin recently, I was doing a gig. I was with this American guy, I was talking to him, I'd say for 20 minutes. 20 minutes, me and him talking in Berlin. He just goes, correct me if I'm wrong, dude, but you're not from around here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was like, this guy's sharp, you know, this guy probably works for NASA. I said, no, man, no. I said, I'm from Ireland. He said, where, dude? Any particular part of Ireland or no? No. Just generally Ireland. We never knew exactly where, you know. Our address at home was always just apartment number 2, Ireland, the world. That's where we're from, you big fool. But they have something about them, though. Like, you know what it is? They're emotionally open. They're emotionally open people, which is hard for Irish people to take. Because we keep everything down. You meet Americans, it's hard for us. Like, I was leaving a party in America recently, and my American friend was like, oh, you leaving, mate? I fucking love you, dog. And I was like, I think you're a nice fella too, you know. I'm not telling you I love you because you're a man and my father's still alive, you know. Because my father would sense that shit. Even back in Ireland, he'd be like, something gay is going on, you know, like. Be able to feel it. He's a close relationship with the wind, you know what I mean? Because you can't really do it in Ireland growing up, you know. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of you probably the same. Like, I'm a sensitive person, you know, but you can't show that growing up. Where we're from, you know, it's just not the banter. Because my friend would come up to me and be like, Michael, you stupid bastard. I can't be like, Brennan, you've hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? You can't do it. You have to be like, Brennan, your mother's tits are dyslexic or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you're like, no offense, Mrs. Brennan, you know, she'd be driving us. And she'd say none taken. She knows her tits can't read, you know, like, at least I hope they can't, you know. You weird flicking pages with her nipples. I finally understand the eights, you know. Anyway, my point, I'm getting away from things here. My point is, keep Germany out of the fucking war. That's my point. Keep those folks. I'll tell you what would happen. If they entered the war, this is my fear, right? We'd win the war. The war would be won. They're good at that shit. But then about 2 weeks after the war is won, we'd be like, Germany, why are your planes and tanks still out, you know? And Germany would be like, promise you won't get mad. We'd be like, Germany, no! We'd be like, just sit deep of Poland, come on! We are back on the hooch, you know? That's my worry, man. That's my worry. I'm very worried about that, you know? I'm worried in general. But you know what? All this shit, get it in your head. I'm like, Jesus, our generation of people, you know, we're not ready for war. So we believe in nothing. We believe in absolutely nothing. Like, say whatever you want about the Russians. They believe in Christ. They're fucking Christian Orthodox. Fucking Christ. They believe in Mother Russian. Who here believes in God? We're fucked. Do you know what I mean? Like, bunch of useless, godless cowards. Good for nothing. Putin would use you as his cum rag. You know what I mean? Like, useless, right? And I thought this recently. I was like, Jesus Christ, what on earth does our generation believe in? And I went up to a good friend of mine in London. I said, man, what do you believe in? And he thought for a second and he just said, vibes. I believe in vibes. I was like, this is why you're not allowed to see your kid, Trevor, you know, because you never recovered from the acid trip, you know. Like, what's he going to teach his kids? Come round here, Timmy. Let me tell you what we believe in. We believe in vibes. What's our vibes, Daddy? Well, it's hard to explain, but you just fucking... You're dabbing. You know, it's better if you're on ecstasy, you know what I mean? And he'll open his eyes and his child will have left to give himself up for adoption, you know. And then he said to me, he said, well, Mike, he said, well, what do you believe in? And I said, well, you know, I believe in the universe, you know, like I believe that the energy you give out in life is the energy you get back, you know. Yeah, vibes as well, fuck. Fuck! And then we both just you know, we were on ketamine. It was a good time. You know, man. But that's the thing, because I have a thing in me. I don't know, I grew up with religion. Like, I need to believe in shit, you know. I just have that in me. I need to believe in shit. You know, like, I think being an atheist, that's for successful people. You know, like, that's for people who refuse to drink tap water. You know, like, these kind of people... That's what it's like to be an atheist, you know? Like, I share a toilet with 3 drama students in a shithole in London. I need to believe in magic, you know? Like, I need it. I need it. And man, it leads me to some dumb shit. My need to believe in shit. Like, for 2 solid years, I had a thing called a gratitude stone. This is a stone that I talk to. Every night, a stone. This is what happens when you leave Christ. A stone. You know a stone. You see them underground in walls. You throw them at people with mullets or whatever. You know a stone. I talk to it every night. I'd be in bed, just before bed. I'd thank it for things in my life. I'd be like, oh, thank you for my mother's stone. And I'd thank it for things I want in the future, you know. I'd be like, oh, thank you for my brother's business failing or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know, thank you for my ex getting less attractive, you know. And she did. She fucking did. And that strengthened my belief in the stone. I was like, thank you, stone. Her hair's falling out, stone. She'll never be loved again, stone. You're my best friend, stone. And I know I can see it in your fucking faces. I can see some of the men. Look at this fucking bollocks up the front. I can see you looking at me. I can see you looking at me like, Mike, you seem like a weak-minded imbecile who'd get me killed at war. And I can see some of the women looking at me and thinking, I like Mike, you know? Mike has some good ideas. With his gratitude stone and my confidence spoon, we could go a long way, you know? I'm going to light my curiosity candle tonight to find out more about him. He seems to have a close relationship with the moon, you know? He seems to be in cahoots with the moon, I feel, you know? And the funny thing is, I'd be doing this with the stone, and then I'm so mean to people about, like, religion. Like, even my own mother, I'm so mean to her. I'm like, oh, yes, mother. Mary was a virgin, was she, mother? No one fingered Mary, did they, mother? You're a fool, mother, you're a fool! Wake up! Meanwhile, I'm in my room whispering to a stone, you know. Thank you for a bountiful harvest, you know. Thank you for the continued health of Angela Merkel. Long may she reign, stone. You know. But sure, I'm no good. I'm no good. I grew up Catholic, though, I did. Very, like, super Catholic, like, genuinely. We'd all talk about it now like it was all bad. Everyone's like, oh, it wasn't all bad. There were some great parts to it. Like, when I was growing up, this is absolutely true, my mother would tell me all the time, she'd say, sex is a filthy, evil thing. And to this day, when I have sex, every time it feels wrong. Do you know how good that is? It's unbelievable. I don't have to spice things up in the bedroom. There's nothing kinkier than going to hell, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing, every time. Like, God, look at you with little mustache, you godless little bastard, look at you. You look like half cat, half porn director, look at the head in you. Like, God knows what someone like you has to do to come, you know? Something has to die for you to get there, you know? Let's say you have to do little evil role plays, so you're like, I'll be Hitler, you be Anne Frank, I'll come find you, come on. Him now, not me, him. I think that's wrong what he said. Nasty little boy. I'm just saying, I don't have to do any of that shit. For me, it's evil every fucking time. Like, I could be having sex with the woman I love, missionary position, the lights are off, the windows are closed, we're under the covers, and I'm like, oh. This is a disgrace, you know, like, we'll never get away with this, you know. And she's like, can we please change positions? I'm like, oh, we're already dancing with the devil as it is, Mary, you know what I mean? And Mary's my mother's name. I don't know why I said that. I don't know. It's funny, because without religion, you still try to fucking be a good person, you know? Try to be moral. You know, like, for one thing, me personally, like, I think cheating is wrong. I think cheating's bad. I think you're humiliating your partner. I do not agree with it whatsoever. But there is one time, the only time that I think cheating is okay, this is the only time, is if it's with me. You know what I mean? And then I actually think it's quite cool. You know, then I think it's quite a noble pursuit, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I'm a complete hypocrite. Like, if you cheat on me, I genuinely deeply believe you should be sent to a work camp in Siberia. You know, like, if you cheat with me, I think you should win the Ballon d'Or. You know, I think you should win it, you know? And I was at this party in London recently, right? And I was in this apartment, and the couple owned the apartment. And I was in the kitchen on my own, right? And the girl from the couple came into the kitchen, her boyfriend in the other room, and she tried to fucking kiss me, right? And I just thought, she's a good girl, you know, like, she's a risk taker, you know? She's on MDMA. I could tell because she tried to kiss me. And because I gave her some. That was the other clue. That was the other thing that tipped me off, you know? So I kissed her. It's like if Jaws was a romantic film, you know? Because that's the thing, you try to be good. But then you go doing drugs and sure, listen. Like, if you do MDMA, there's no right or wrong, you know? It's only right or tremendous, you know? Like, for me, MDMA stands for morals don't matter anymore. Oh. But the problem is, the next day, you have to continue being alive. You're going to find this out tomorrow. But the next day, you have to continue being alive. And I even remember the day after I did that, I kissed her one. I woke up. Oh, gee. That deep hatred of yourself. Oh. What? I'm no good. My father was right about me. They were all right, you know. I remember I felt this deep shame and guilt. And I drove to my friend's house, the American guy. And I told him, I was like, man, I'm such a scumbag. I kissed this girl, her boyfriend was in the other room. I'm just such a fucking piece of shit. And my American friend was like, dude, this is not on you, dude. She's not your girlfriend, brother. Dude, you didn't even fuck her. Why didn't you fuck her, dude? And again, in that moment, it was the first time I understood America's foreign policy. You know, I understood. Iraq made sense, you know? Ah, yes, fuck everyone, you know? And that's why there's so many serial killers in America. It's not because of the serial killers, it's because they're friends, you know? Because you know there was a day that Jeffrey Dahmer walked into a kitchen and he just there, well, Brian, I gotta tell you something. I've been killing people. I've been eating people. It just ain't no damn good. And his friend was like, dude, this is not on you, dude. People taste delicious, brother. I mean, dude, you're not even fucking them. Why aren't you fucking them, dude? And he's like, well, Brian, I have been fucking them. That's mainly what I've been doing, truth be told. I'm doing a lot of MDMA of late, you know. But you kind of need it. It's like, I don't know, I feel like you just need something to believe in. Because, like, life is hard, you know. Shit. Like, even being a comedian, it's fun on stage in front of everyone, laughing. It feels like, you know, my father did love me, you know. So, it's great. But off stage, it's a nightmare being a comedian. You tell anyone you're a comedian, ever. Same response. Go on, then, tell us a joke. Go on, tell us a joke. Hey. As if you'd meet a carpenter and be like, make me a table. Go on. Meet a politician, receive a bribe for me. Go on. Take her up for me now. Woo-hoo. I made a massive mistake when I went to London. I applied for a job and I put on my CV that I was a comedian. Nightmare. This Scottish lady we're a few minutes into the interview, and she just goes, "All right, Michael." So I was looking at your CV there, and it says that you're a comedian. Well, you know I'm going to ask you next, then. That's a joke! And I said, no, my jokes wouldn't be appropriate. They're about my uncle fucking me. And, they're just... It's not the time or the place, She goes, oh, come on. I'm a big girl. I'm a big girl. Tell us a wee little joke. I'd love a wee little joke. I was like, are you fingering the air? What are you doing? And then she just goes, come on! She just turned into William Wallace fighting for freedom, right? So I said, fine, I'll tell you a joke, And I don't tell many short jokes, so this is the only joke I could think of, right? So this is the joke I told her. So I was going out with this Indian girl, which I was for 2 years, Sonu. And one day, one of my friends came up to me and I said, oh, Mike, that must be unbelievable. She must be unbelievable in bed, because Indians, they get taught Kama Sutra from like the age of 13. And I said, yeah, actually, that makes a lot of fucking sense, because the girl I've been seeing is 12 and she doesn't have a fucking clue. Now listen. I know that's not a good joke, I mean structurally great joke, but like morally, I know that wasn't any good, but she said she's a big girl. I thought she'd like it. But her face just... Wait, what? Wait, so let me get this straight. So the joke is you're a paedophile? And I said, no, that's the punchline to the joke. It's not the joke. I don't go up to you and be like, hey, would you like to hear a joke? Yeah, I'm a paedophile. Ah. I'm like, that's a good one, Mike. You have a future in this business. BBC, probably, So I felt... You getting the BBC thing? I like that at the back. A little Sable in there. Well, I genuinely felt I had to defend myself then, like in the interview. So I just go, no, jeez, no, I'm not a paedophile. I've never had sex with any children. But when you hear those words coming out of your mouth in a job interview, you start to think, I might not get this one, because I wouldn't have brought that up voluntarily, you know what I mean? Like, if she'd been like, all right, Michael, tell me about your interests, I wouldn't have been like, well, let me tell you something I'm not interested in. Children romantically. Not my cup of tea, madame. She's like, he's a paedophile, is he? He must be, right? So anyway, next she just goes, all right then, well, let's just try go back to your CV, okay? Let's just go back to your CV, okay? I was like, great, let's go back to my CV, great, right? And I swear on my life, I completely forgot what was on my CV. But next she just goes, all right, so next here it says that you volunteered at a children's shelter in India. And at this stage, I just completely gave up on the interview. And I was like, yeah, I had a fucking great time. Made a lot of friends, I'll be back next year, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. There's some things like just in modern life these days that I just don't like. Gender neutral toilets. I hate them. I hate them with all my heart. That's nothing to do with politics or anything like that. I'm ashamed of my shits, lads, I'll be honest. My shits are the worst thing about me. I've never once taken a shit and been like, I just want to ban my audience for this, It kills me that most women will never know what I'm capable of in here, And I know, and again, women get annoyed with me and they're like, well, Mike, you don't want to share toilets with us. Cut this shit, all right? I know women don't want to share toilets with men. I know that. You know how I know? I've wandered into women's toilets before. By accident. And I have never been fucking welcomed, okay? If I'm honest, I've been treated like a criminal. And okay, yeah, I shouldn't have been taking pictures, I'll admit that. But I've got a great eye. Well, it's true. You wander into women's toilets, you're like cats, you're like... Which is completely different than if a woman wanders into a man's toilet and we're just like... To what do we owe the pleasure? May I show you to your stall, Susan? Would it be okay if I were to listen in from next door to make sure everything was just okay? We're creeps. You especially, but we're creeps. You'd hate a woman if she came in, you cunt. Ah! No, I've been nasty. And it's on camera, which is the best thing. I don't know, man. I tell you what did it for me with gender neutral toilets, that I was doing a gig recently in Berlin. And I take a shit for the gig, right? This thing, I get nervous sometimes. I'm like, I need to do. Maybe they won't like me. You know what I mean? So I go over this shit, right? And I had about 10 pints of Guinness the night before, right? So, listen, most of you know what that does to your insides. What you shit out is like a demented from Harry Potter coming out of you. You know, like when we were growing up, if my father had 10 pints of Guinness the night before, we'd be sent to our cousins the next day. You know, because my mother was honestly afraid it would stunt her growth. If I'm honest, she knew the house would be like Chernobyl, you know. So anyway, I was taking this shit, you know, and I was just like, you know, it's just a bad one. You know, you're just sweating and you're kind of contorting into yourself. And I got up off the toilet and my legs were like the legs of a baby calf. They were shaking. I was gone blind in one eye, you know. I was muttering to myself in Hebrew for some reason, you know. And again, you just felt that deep shit shame, you know. I'm no good. My father was right about me. And I stumbled over to the door of the toilet. I opened up the door. Who was waiting outside? The most beautiful German woman you've ever seen in your life. And her little 4-year-old German daughter. And her daughter was just looking up at me with this little smiley German head in her. And I knew she wasn't going to be smiling for long, you know. She wasn't even going to be German for long, you know what I mean? Like, it's the kind of shit that'd turn you Dutch, you know. Like, after she goes into that toilet, she's just going to be from that toilet. Like, that's where the rest of her life begins, you know. And I tried to look at the mother and plead with her with my eyes. I tried to plead with her like, you can't let her in there. She's innocent, you know. Like, if she goes in there, she'll just know Santa's not real, you know, like, she'll know 9/11 was an inside job, you know, she'll know Bush was involved, you know. But you can't say anything, what can you say? You can't be like, oh, you know, you can't do it. So all I could do, I came out, I was sweating, hunched over, and all I managed to say was, sorry, and I just fucking scuttled away like a little rat, you know. And man, I know that girl. That little girl, like, she's going to be in fucking therapy, you know. Like, 20 years from now, she's going to be, like, lying down on a couch, and a therapist is going to be like, and friends, it's a pain start, Matilda. I remember waiting outside the toilet with my mother. I remember feeling happy. I haven't felt that way since. So next thing I remember, a guilty, sweaty man left the toilet. And he said he was sorry. If he didn't know why, we would soon find out. So next thing I remember, I woke up on the bathroom floor and I couldn't feel my legs. And my mother, she was screaming, it burns, it burns! My mother didn't talk to me much after that. She said I reminded her of the shits. She would want to kill herself a year later. Her suicide note had 2 lines. Guinness shit. It was a Guinness shit. I'm sorry, I have to take a moment in the bathroom, I'm sorry. And the therapist is like, Matilda, I wouldn't go in there, I've been eating a lot of ethnic food. Oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever written. Well, listen now. I feel like I've been most of what I've been doing up here. I've just been fucking complaining and, you know, life's been good for me, really. You know, like, I had my first threesome recently. I did. Yes, thank you very much. I did, yeah. It was actually with my best friend, Jimmy O'Brien. Me, Jimmy, and his dog, would you believe? It's the 3 of us. And Well, now, before you start thinking animal cruelty, I assure you, the dog was dead. You know, the dog was dead. By the end, the dog was dead. Look, no, I'm joking. We didn't shag a dog, you know. We made love to the dog. No, rose petals, candles, you know. Nah, we didn't. It happened in London. It was a lady, and you know, that's the thing, because, like, you know, here no one gives a fuck. We're Irish. Irish women hate me. I see her looking at me all the show, just like, you think it's funny, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's disgusting, so she is. You know what I mean? It's actually growth, actually. But over there, we just say 33, and people are like, say it again, you know. And we do. I'm like 33,333 and a third, and they just give birth, you know. And a little mic comes out, and I tell him, never pronounce your THs. Tis, tat, T's and toes. That's the way you get the hose. Come on. So anyway, this is the crack. Here's the story, right? So myself and my friend Jimmy, we're at this bar. So we're at this bar in London, right? And this English girl comes up and starts talking to us. And she's talking to us for about 10 minutes, right? And after 10 minutes, she asks, hey, listen, I can't even tell the difference between you two. So I'm going to fuck both of you. We were like, thank you very much, you know. Absolutely lovely, you know what I mean? Now, in our hearts, we were like, was that offensive? You know, fucking 800 years of fucking English rule in Ireland, you know? But our dicks were like, for the Queen, you know. Oh, Lizzie, we must prevail, right? And usually, like, I'd be so nervous about something like that, you know. Like, I'd never done anything like that before. I'd be nervous with one person, but I felt good about it because it was with my best friend. And I know him. So, like, I know my dick's bigger. You know what I mean? I know that. Which I think, honestly, is like a good dynamic for a threesome, you know? Like, good cock, bad cock, you know, you want that. You want that mix, right? But we have to have that chat, right? So we're like, hey, now listen, Jimmy, if we're going to do this, we can't be putting hands up each other's assholes. No, we don't want to fall in love here, you know what I mean? We don't want to fall in love, right? So, because we would, you know we would. It's fucking good, have you? Anyway, so that's the last thing I need. Fucking Jimmy's my Valentine. I don't need that, right? So anyway, nothing like that happened. Nothing like that happened in the threesome. The only thing that happened during the threesome is at one point, I was having sex with the lady, and my dick slipped out, and Jimmy put it back in. Okay, now... And I'll be honest, lads, I didn't even see him fucking do it. Because I was having sex with Lee, she was on top. I was like, oh, you know, up the Queen, right? And then my dick slipped out. And then it got put back in. But her hands didn't move. And my hands didn't move. And for a split second in my heart, I was like, thank you, Stone. You know, like... I was like, it's the Stone. Or Jesus, one or the other. But then it happened again, and I was like, oh, that's not Jesus. You know, that's the hand of a sinner. You know, that's my best friend, Jimmy O'Brien, son of Tom the Butcher, you know. And the second time it happened, it came out, he put it back in so quick that I was like, that's what he's focused on back there. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's made that his priority for the threesome. Like, he's just back there like a Wimbledon ball boy, just like fucking... Just like a referee, out of play, back in play. And then it happened a third time. And the third time I was like, that's 3 strokes. Like that's a hand job, you know, like Jimmy's wanked me off, you know. And I just felt deep in my soul, like, that's the best friend you're ever gonna have. Like, there's a lot of guys who help you get laid, but how many guys are gonna help you stay laid? You know, like honestly, after I came, I felt like a jazz musician, you know. I was like, give it up for Jimmy on the 1s and 2s back there. Give Jimmy a hand, he gave me one back there. And it made me think, man, what about you? Would you grab his kyak? Yeah, 100%. I'm not even joking, for the cameras right now. And I want, and don't stop till I see the cum. Okay, no, I was saying, he's been waiting for that for a while. He's just... hope someone forces me to wank him off, you know? then it wouldn't be gay. If an entertainer forced me, then it'd be okay. We'll sit in the front row. I don't know, man. It did make me think, though, lads, you know, like, I have needed help for a while, you know. I have, man. Like, I've been having sex with women alone for a long time. And it can get lonely, you know. There's no one to talk about crypto, you know. So from now on, when I have sex, I'm going to be like a bank robber. If a girl's like to me, hey, do you want to have sex? I'm going to be like, listen, I'm in, but if I don't work alone, you know, I got a guy keeps watch out back. His name's Jimmy Fingers, you know. And she'll be looking at me like, I've worked with Fingers before. The man's brilliant. Oh man, I saw Jimmy come, man. I did see my best friend come, and honestly, I think I would have rather see him die. You know, I think it would have looked similar. You know, just you know, because like you have to imagine how weird it was for me to literally see the jizz coming out of his dick and into my mouth. You know, it was just it was a salty one. Now we're best friends. That's what I say, you know. You're loving it. You're like, why don't we all do it right now? Oh, listen, lads, I'm no good. I'm rotten. I'm a rotten egg. The rapper Jay-Z has a line, as opposed to the plumber Jay-Z. As opposed to Jay-Z, the traffic warden. The rapper Jay-Z has a line in one of his songs where he says, once a good girl goes bad, they're gone forever. And I was a good girl, you know. I've gone bad. I've gone wicked bad, you know. I still think I'd be good, you know. I still think I'd be good at war, you know. I think I would if war broke out. I think I'd be good. Just because, like, I grew up on a farm, you know. Like, I played a lot of sport growing up. I like period sex, you know. I think... Honestly, I think that's the closest to war I've been. You know what I mean? Like, who likes it? Give me a shout, period sex. What the fuck? Shit, sure, you'd stick it in the fire, you dirty bastard. You wouldn't give a shite. I like that, man. I like it, man. Just it's the closest to a warrior you'll feel in your life, you know. Closest to the Colosseum you'll get, you know. Did you ever go into the bathroom after a bit of period sex, you know? Just look at yourself in the mirror. You've got a bit of blood there. And you're like, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius. Father to a murdered son. Husband to a murdered wife. And I will have my vengeance. Are you not entertained? You dirty bastards! You dirt board! I did a show one night, this Dublin one just shouted out, you fucking dirt board! I said, Jesus, that's the pot calling the kettle black. But I know, man. I do. I like it. I like period sex. I do. I think it's fun. But let me tell you this, though. The first time I had period sex, that shit blew my fucking mind. Because the girl did not tell me she was on her periods. Yeah, I only found out because she tasted like coins. You know, like that. Oh, why are you covering your... Why are you moaning? How do you think I fucking felt? Grow up! Grow up! How do you think I felt? I was so confused. I was literally down there. I was like, is she saving money up there? I didn't know. I was like, she mustn't trust the banks. You know, I told her, I was like, you need to get into crypto, Kate. You know, you need to diversify. This isn't safe, you know. But I'm going to leave you on this now. I was doing the show a couple of weeks ago, and this girl came up and introduced herself to me before the show, American girl, you know. Just wanted to just say, hi, she said, my name's Kathy, and I'm from Texas, and I play American football, and I just want you to know that I'm coming in here to enjoy your show, and I want you to know that you are spreading laugh, laughter, and joy in a world where there's so much blood, destruction, and war, and you're one of Jesus' soldiers, spreading vibes and smiles. I said, Kathy, listen, you've done cocaine, just kidding. It's okay. I'll do so much after. I'm a bad girl. Right? So, anyway, I do this show. right? I finish on that line about coins, period. Remember that? Masterpiece. Remember the best joke you ever heard in your life? So I finish on that. As soon as the show ends, Kathy makes a fucking beeline for me. She's knocking people out of the way. She just marches up to me. She just says, "Are we gonna fuck or what?" I said, "What?" She just leaned into my ear and just said, "I'm on my period. I taste like money, baby." And I said, "Listen, I'm in, but I don't work alone." Evil bastards, you know.